Well, good evening, Chairman Jenkins. Thank you for the opportunity to visit with you tonight. And sorry for my late arrival. It's been a bit of an odyssey getting here. Miles Nixon, who was traveling with me, we had a flat tire. We got it fixed. It went flat again, Mayor. And so then we changed into the spare. So a little bit of an odyssey to get here. I'm John Rose, and I am a Christian, a husband, a father, a farmer, a business owner, and I'm running for governor of Tennessee. And it's currently my great honor and privilege to represent the 6th District of Tennessee in the U.S. House. I've been serving in that role for the last 6.5 years or so, going on 7. Ran for Congress in 2018 after having spent my career in the private sector as a business person and a business owner, an entrepreneur, and a farmer. I ran because I wanted to help President Trump with his vision for restoring the greatness of America. And as I suspect is true for almost everyone in this room, if not everyone, I was very deeply frustrated in 2017 and 18 when I saw what Congress was doing and the failure of what was then a Republican majority, like we have now, to fully back the president as he sought to turn this country around. And that frustrated me. That caused me to run for Congress. I was successful, but unfortunately when I arrived in Washington on January 3rd, 2019, I got sworn in by Nancy Pelosi. Republicans lost the majority that year. And it was a difficult, I will tell you, a frustrating 4 years that I spent the first 4 years of Congress in the minority. The majority rules with complete power in the House of Representatives in Washington, and when Nancy Pelosi was in charge, it was a pretty miserable existence. But fortunately, 2.5 years ago, we won back the majority in the House, and things started to get better. We were able to play effective defense in the last 2 years of the Biden administration. And then, thank goodness, last November 5th, the American people saw fit to return President Trump as the 47th President of the United States and to give Republicans a majority in the House and a majority in the Senate. And so the last 7-8 months have been a real whirlwind period where we've been working at the speed of Trump, as we like to say in Washington. And my, what a master class in leadership we've all seen from the president. The thing that I point to probably is maybe not the biggest deal, but the thing that I think most exemplifies the difference between Donald Trump as president and his predecessor is that in 3 short months, as we all know, President Trump, with the sheer power of his leadership and determination, brought the flow of illegal immigrants into this country from tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of people per month, flooding across our southern border. We all know, beginning in May of this year, he brought that number to 0. What? And I think the point that I would make there is the previous president told us over and over again for 4 years, there's nothing I can do. This is President Biden. There's nothing, he said, nothing he could do. Even though he took the same oath of office to enforce the laws and the Constitution of this state, he said there was nothing he could do. President Trump comes in, and with the sheer power of his leadership, he gets that job done. Not with the help of Congress, frankly, but on his own. Now, Congress has come along behind. We passed the big, beautiful law into the One Big Beautiful Law, and we gave with that the president the resources to finish the border wall, to hire the ICE agents necessary to enforce our border laws, and the resources to begin to deport the criminal illegal aliens in this country. And so it's been a lot of, reaffirmation of what we believe as conservatives to get to be part of helping the president achieve those goals. Now, when I ran for Congress, I believe very strongly, and I don't know if you agree with me in here, but I suspect probably most of you do, that the founders, when they set up this country, they wanted a citizen legislature. They wanted people like me and like you to go to Washington and serve for a season and come home. And I believe that's true, and that's why when I decided to run for Congress, my wife and I discussed this, and we decided I would serve for a period of time and then I would come home. And for me, that time is now. So at the end of the term that I just got elected to last fall, As you remember, those elections, members of the House, we run every 2 years. So I got elected last fall to a 2-year term. And my dad taught me a long time ago on the farm that you finish the jobs that you hire on for. You finish the jobs that you start. So I'm going to finish this job. I'm going to work through January 3rd, 2027 when my term ends. And I'm going to work hard every day between now and then to help put in place the vision that President Trump has for restoring this country. But then I'm coming home, and I'm confident that the people of the 6th District of Tennessee, which is Nashville and east over to Scott County here in East Tennessee, I'm confident they'll find a person that can take my place among the 767,871 people who call the 6th District of Tennessee home. But I'm also of the opinion that I've got service yet to give, and I think I can do a good job serving you as the next governor of this state. And people often ask me, why, John? Why do you think you're qualified to be the next governor of Tennessee? And I don't think I'm the only person that's qualified, but I think of the candidates that are running, I am the most qualified, because the job of being governor of this state is the CEO job. It's the job of providing leadership to the government of this state. And I've had that experience prior to going to Congress. I started a small business as a student in college with a fellow law school student. We had no money. We had no family business to build upon. We had an idea. We turned that idea into a vision. We turned that vision into a successful multinational company where we trained over 4.5 million people all around the world how to use Microsoft products. So a real business that we built from the ground up. So I know what it's like probably many of you in here, to sign the front side of a paycheck. And it's that experience of building and running a business that I believe gives me the skill set that would help me to be successful being the next governor of this state. Not the skills that I've acquired as a legislator, and they're interesting. I've learned some things as a member of Congress, but I would tell you, if we were depending on the skills that I've acquired and that others acquire as legislators, and some people as career legislators, I would tell you that doesn't qualify you. And we don't need a governor who takes the job and has to have on-the-job training. I've hired people like that, probably some of you have. We're going to pay some stupid tax if we hire someone who has to learn how to do the job of being governor, of leading the state, while they've got the job. So I think we need to hire somebody. And I think Tennesseans get that. If you look back at the governors that we've elected in recent years, the ones that have been successful, they've come from a business background where they've acquired the skills and abilities to run a large organization like the state of Tennessee. So I acquired that knowledge and those skills in the private sector. I did have the opportunity fairly early in my life, to also serve as Commissioner of Agriculture for Tennessee, managing a department of more than 1,000 state employees at that time. And so I have some government executive experience as well. And so those are the experiences that I think might equip me to be the next governor of this state. Now, I grew up on a farm in Middle Tennessee, and I'm proud of that heritage. I'm an 8th generation Tennessean. My forebears got to the place where I now live in 1790. John and Ann Lancaster and their 11 children. And so I know what it is to be a Tennessean and to have that proud heritage. When I woke up this morning, I looked out over a farm that my family has been farming for 235 years. And when you think about that, the awesome legacy that is, I don't get to take credit for all that. I was born into that, right? But I look across those fields and I think, what will this place be 235 years from now? And when the people that are there then, and hopefully they will be, my descendants, if I'm lucky, maybe they'll be my descendants, and hopefully they'll look back on what I did in my time and know that I made a difference. And that's the challenge for all of us. Tennessee is in a great place. We've had good leadership, generally good leadership. We have low taxes and low debt. It's a conservative state. It is already the most conservative state in the country, I would argue to you. But if we take our eye off the ball, even for just a moment, we could fall behind. And how do we know that? Because we can look to see what's happened over the last 20 or 25 years. You all remember when 25 years ago, we had the best roads in the country. There was consensus about that. Tennessee's roads were in great shape, but we took our eye off the ball. We had a governor who took his eye off the ball, and 25 years later, our roads are in poor condition. They're not being expanded to meet the needs of Tennessee. So we need a governor who's prepared to take on that challenge. who doesn't have to get on-the-job training. And I'm asking for that job, and I hope you'll consider me for that job. I'll end with a story about why it matters so much that we hire people who know what it's like to be in the trenches, people who know what it's like to be where most Tennesseans are. I had a flat tire on the way over here, but I'll tell you a story about a different time in my life when there was a flat tire involved. And this happened on our farm in 1980 when I was 15 years old. And my dad was bush hogging in a hollow. Y'all got those around here. Everybody knows what a holler is, don't you? My dad was way up on a hillside. He was bush hogging. He had a flat tire. And it was a hot summer day. And I was down at the bottom of the hill, and I had one of these old pole saws. Somebody in here used one of those, I bet. Raise your hand if you've ever used a pole saw. You know what I'm talking about. And I was cutting limbs around the edge of the field so that my dad could make that last round, mow up the edge of the field, and not get slapped in the face by limbs. Well, he had a flat tire, and he had painstakingly come down the hill, gotten the spare, rolled it up way up on the hill. He had completed changing that tire. He wanted me to keep sawing limbs, so that's what I had done. He finished that job, and I heard him yell way up on the hill. He said, "John, when this tire gets down to the bottom of the hill, pitch it over into the back of the pickup truck." Well, now, when he said that, I was way up on the top rung of the stock rack on the back of our 1974 Chevy pickup truck. It was 6 years old, so it had a little wear at the time, but it was in pretty good shape. And so I looked and I thought, well, I get to take a break from sawing, so this is going to be all right. So I hit the saw one or two more licks, and I look back, and that tire is coming down the hill. Now, some of you can anticipate how this story is going to end, I suspect. That tire is picking up speed. And in Smith County, on those hillsides, we've got a lot of chert rock about as big as a softball. And every time that tire hit a piece of that rock, it changed directions. So I look and I realize this story is unfolding faster than either me or my dad anticipated. So I jump off the truck and I get on the ground and I'm in position to catch this tire and throw it in the back of the truck. But as the tire gets closer, it gets faster, and I realize, hey, I may have a higher calling here, Rich Ingram, Mayor. That calling may be that there needs to be an 8th generation of the family to take over the farm. And this projectile coming down the hill may be headed toward me. And so now I'm jumping around, not trying to catch the tire, but trying to figure out where the tire won't be. And I'm here today to testify that I was successful. I avoided the tire. But that tire slammed into the driver's side door of our 1974 Chevy pickup. And it made an impression, I would just say. My dad yelled down the hill from above and he said, "Hey, why didn't you catch that tire?" And I said, "I'm okay, Dad." Now, what's the moral to this story? When people way up high make rules and laws that you and I have to abide by, sometimes they don't give consideration to what's going to happen when the tire gets to the bottom of the hill and hits us, right? And that's why we need a governor who knows what it's like to be in the trenches, who knows what it's like to be living under the laws that legislators make, not just know how to make those laws. And I have that experience, and I humbly ask for your vote and support to be the next governor of Tennessee. Thank you for having me tonight.